Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. Now, one of the trends in gardening is the use of Rex begonias, or the leafy type begonias, where you're growing them for the colorful leaves. Now, they used to always come just as hanging baskets, and they still do, but there's a lot of variety now that often do really well both in containers, hanging baskets, and in the ground. So let's start with a few of the cascading ones. These are the better ones in either large containers or in hanging baskets. And one of the varieties that really sort of piques interest is a fairly new one. It's called Spectre Silver. This begonia is growing for its unusual broad maple-like leaves. So they're shaped like a maple leaf. They grow with a glowing mint green and silver white leaves. This makes it very, very attractive in the shade. It is a shade plant. It is great for containers. You're going to be able to bring this one in as a houseplant as well. Now, it has the sort of bright red small flowers, but it's mainly growing for its foliage. So, we want to try that one. Then there's the Begonia Revelation Maroon. Now, this hybrid is very, very good as a trailing habit. And as such, it's going to have deep rose leaves. And that rose is more towards red than into the pinks, which is excellent. So it's a rosier red. And it has dark olive green veins. So it has sort of a two-tone effect. The green veins give it sort of a three-dimensional look to the plant. The flowers on it are a warm pink. It's best in the cooler weather, so if you are in a cooler zone, you are better with this one. And that means us. And of course, it's great in the hanging baskets in both spring and fall. That's when it really peaks, though it does do quite well throughout the summer. It's going to be 30 inches by 24, okay? Only hardy to zone 9, and remember, in the shade. Now, the holiday collection of leafy begonias are very colorful, but they predominate in silver. And some people say they look almost as if they have mildew. Now, that is a perception problem with people. But the first one, the Jolly Holly, actually, because of the strong, heavy green veining, doesn't appear like that. It seems to really set off because of the green veining. Small red flowers on it. The male flowers are formed in the winter and never open and resemble holly berries. Very unusual. Full shade, container, 17 by 22 by 19 inches. So, very, very good leafy begonia for baskets and containers. Then the Begonia Holiday Silver Bells, which is a new one. This is one of the ones that has such a broad, very deeply cut angel wing style leaves that are very, very, I'll call it silvery white. And this is one of the ones that looks very much like it has mildew. So it is a little unusual, but it works well as a contrast plant in large containers as well. It's going to brighten up a shady spot because of the brightness of it, and it has a very, very prolific rate of growth. That's good. So 4 containers, and for the shade, it's going to be 9 inches by 16, and it's just going to keep going. So that's not a bad thing. Then there's Begonia Holiday Snowflake. Again, this one has a predominantly silver white. It is more of a maple leaf style leaf, and it is a mounding plant that the mound gives the shape to the plant as a contrast to being more of a hanger. The flowers are a salmon pink. There's lots of them. They're fairly large for this type of begonias, and they sort of hang, and makes it very unusual. The center of each leaf is a mint green, and that sort of makes it look a little different than others. It actually, believe it or not, looks good in combination with red and white poinsettias. Believe it or not. So you could see it at Christmas time mixed in with poinsettias, both red and white. The Begonia Holiday Spirit is a new one. This Holiday Spirit begonia is going to be about 18 inches by 28. The leaves are serrated and predominantly yellow with a very strong, dark star pattern in the center. The leaves sort of have a quilted look to them. Again, that's a different look and style in the begonias. Container, shade, and fairly aggressive in its rate of growth. So that one would look really good in the garden as well. The Nautilus Begonias. Now these are very often the ones with the sort of twisted center. Not all of them, but most. And that means they sort of got that little twist in the center of each leaf. One of the newer ones is the Exotic. This one is interesting in the fact that it is very strongly pink with a darker maroon edge. And that makes it very bright. Now, the Nautilus Lilac, though, looks a little paler, more of a lilac pink with this white in the center of the leaf. So it sort of looks very strong contrast with the white and the lavender or lilac pink edging. Moonlit is another one. This one is very cold tolerant. It's fast growing. It's well branched and has that swirled center. The Nautilus Ruby is going to be the same, except that the color is darker and it has that sort of maroon star center on each that is also the swirled center of the leaf. Begonia Nautilus Supreme. This one is okay. I like the other colors better. This one has a maroon edge, green background in the center with silver spots, and of course the swirled leaf center. Flowers are very light pink, and there's lots of them. So all of these in the Nautilus series are going to be about 12 to 15, very often being as much as 17 to 27 inches across. Good for containers, good for the shade. You may want to try these ones. Then there's the TRex series. This is the most commonly well-known group. This one is probably one of the better ones for the landscape, and that means in the ground. 16 by 16 by 16 shade, containers, fast-growing, well-branched, cold tolerant once they're established. So this group is what you're going to see probably the most of to go into the ground in your landscape in the shade. The Begonia TRex First Blush is more of a lighter green with a maroon star center. The TRex Ruby Slippers is ruby red with a maroon star center. The TRex St. Nick is going to be a green with a maroon edge just on the edge. The green part is going to have silver spots. Then there's a row of silver surrounding the pink and the maroon star center. This one is a little more jagged on its edges, but very pretty. TRex Painter's Palette. This one is, think of this one as a dark green, almost maroon veined, very heavily veined, and edged in the maroon with the silver around the outside of the leaf as well. Center is medium pink. TRex Stardust is going to have that center that is a strong rosy red, a red edge on the shredded leaf that is angel wing shaped, and the rest of the leaf is a medium green with a lot of silver mixed in, mainly in spot. The Stardust is absolutely spectacular. This is a new one. Think of it as a big begonia that has beautiful rose red leaves with some silver in them towards the outside, with the edges in the rose red, and very, very pretty and aggressive. Painter's Palette is still one of the most beautiful as well. So remember that when you're going to pick them out, that Painter's Palette and Stardust are really going to be the winners of the TRex series of Leafy Begonias. Then there is the Shade Angel. The Shade Angel group basically are for the shade in containers. Most of them are going to be about 18 by 18, but there's a few that are going to be as much as 32 inches across. Very large leaves. Angel wing in shape, shredded though, on the edge. Predominantly white in the center. They mature into a very light, soft, minty green. The edges are the maroon. And most of them are all like that, with slightly different colors and predominance. So Shade Angel Pearl is as I described. Then there's Aurora, which is the same but has more of the minty light green. And then there's Fireworks. Now Fireworks is beautiful. It is one of the nicest ones going. It's going to be a paisley purple bands, iridescent silver white centers, pink flowers, and it's going to be great for shade containers, 10 by 18 by 16. This one has won numerous awards. And then Dancing Peacock. With Dancing Peacock, think of it as a multicolored pink with some leaves that are actually more green. And, of course, those are the older leaves. So you've got a plant that is going to be 24 inches by 28 by keep going. In other words, it really does spread. It's aggressive. And the Dancing Peacock is bushy. The leaves are palmate, rose purple, silver, and olive green. It is great in containers, both inside and out. and on the summer borders outdoors. More on leafy begonias coming up in future weeks. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.